This week on the program, USPF seeks stakeholders' collaboration towards overcoming the barriers to equitable telecoms access. South Africa Trade Mission in Nigeria for investment in ICT, oil and gas. NIDA inaugurates Board of Trustees for Information Technology Outsourcing, plus a special segment, Tag Tech Impact, brought to you by SAP. SAP helps companies run like never before. Learn more by visiting sap.com.ng/better. This is AIT Infotech Network, reaching you from Freetown in Sierra Leone,
Accra, the Ghanaian capital, Addis Ababa in Ethiopia, Johannesburg in South Africa.
We are in Cairo in Egypt,
Tunis, the financial capital,
Cape Town in South Africa,
reaching you from Dubai, Hanover in Germany,
live from Chicago,
Las Vegas in the United States of America, Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. We are in Beijing, China,
in London, England.
AIT Infotech Network, bridging the digital divide.
Hello, a special thanks to you for joining us in this edition of the program, AIT Infotech Network, Africa's leading ICT program on television, and I am Bayero Agabi. For details on the program, you can log on to our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/CyberAfricaTV, or better still, you can email us, bayero@aitinfotechnetwork.com. Insecurity. These are two major issues constituting a major headache to nations, individuals, and organizations across the globe. This is why Nigeria Computer Society perhaps focused on these two major issues in their 2013 annual conference, as covered by Kenneth Adegoke.
It was business unusual at the quiet town of Iloko, Ijesha in Osun State, as people from all walks of life trooped in their numbers to attend the 11th International Conference organized by the Nigerian Computer Society.
We're going to be talking during the course of this conference about e-government and security. How do we use information technology towards boosting the art of governance in the country? How do we use information technology tools and services towards resolving a lot of the security challenges that we have in our country?
The Communication Technology Minister, Omombola Johnson, who doubled at the event as the keynote speaker and the representative of the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Namadi Sambo, sees the conference as timely, maintaining that the need to develop a framework to check the rising security challenges cannot be overemphasized.
We look forward to sharing the results of your discussion on the best ways for us in this part of the world to leverage ICTs to improve our national security. Traffic to the portal is still expectedly low, but we expect that with the deployment of a number of high-traffic services, such as some of the services of the Corporate Affairs Commission, increased awareness of this portal, and increased confidence of citizens to transact their business with government online, we should begin to see some efficiency and transparency gains.
However, some school of thought blame the poor framework for better security in the country on the failure of today's government in addressing the issues of insecurity with ICT.
If you look at the problem of security all over the world, if not for the application of IT, they will not get a resolution to them. Okay, IT in the area of cameras, okay, CCTV all over the place, even having a database of criminals and all that. So that is why the conference here has picked e-governance and security issues as the theme for this year's conference.
The next thing now is to adopt that framework, because it's one thing to define, it's another thing for the government to adopt it. And of course, you know, Nigeria is a federal system, so you are talking about adoption by federal, adoption by state, and some even local governments.
If there are implementation of those suggestions, that are supposed to, turn things around for good in the nation, then I think there will be results, yes.
If you've just joined us, the program still is AIT Infotech Network, and I am Bayero Agabi. And if you think you've missed anything, please log on to our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/CyberAfricaTV. And now to our Tech Impact, where We show you issues, views, and innovations that made news in the past week, as compiled by Francisca Nana. Brought to you by SAP. Stay with us.
Equitable access, according to the International Telecommunications Union ITU, is about addressing social and economic imbalances when developing policy and rolling out ICTs, so that people from diverse backgrounds have similar opportunities when it comes to access to technology. And in line with this principle, stakeholders in the Nigerian ICT industry gathered in Lagos to take a look at the impact of policies put in place by the federal government for achieving equitable access in the country.
The whole reason for this consultation is to engage the operators themselves. What we've noticed is that in the past, they have not been showing a lot of interest, and that's why we are creating a model that will streamline our procurement processes. Our request for proposals will be streamlined, and we're also going to be as transparent as possible by showing what are the marks, the marking scheme as it were, like the criteria that we are going to use to select the most responsive bids. That way, the operators, we believe, will respond.
The roundtable, convened by the Universal Service Provision Fund, USPF, attracted key stakeholders in the nation's ICT industry, who criticized the fund for ineffective implementation of the Strategic Management Plan of 2007 to 2011, a framework designed to fast-track ICT access in the country.
For 7 years, the strategic plan 2007-2011 was 5 years, 11 to now, it's already 2 years, and we look at the performance. And if you ask people, for 7 years, this is all we have been doing.
It's supposed to be to encourage access to underserved area of the country, because the service providers, they are interested in profit making, just like any commercial outfit. But government has deemed it fit through a law that this fund should be established in order to enhance accessibility by those people who are living in the underserved area of the country, like the rural areas. So definitely this fund would address that issue and will encourage the service providers to be able to move to those areas they deem is not commercially viable.
On their part, the USPF has this to say.
Yes, there is a little gap, but that's why the roundtable is, to try to bridge this gap.
I think part of the problem also is about energy. Once the energy is fluctuating and there is the cost of generating a diesel to run a generator is another part of the problem. Service providers, they need to get a proceed in whatever they are doing. So in as much as where they see it cannot serve, of course, they won't go there. So I think part of the problem is electricity, but I hope meaningfully we are progressing.
And despite their dissatisfaction, the stakeholders went ahead to make recommendations on how to effectively implement the new 5-year plan.
The summary of all that we have had here today is that there is a massive change. There is a change in concept, there is a change in thinking, there is a change in focus. And if all these are real, then sky can only be, it won't even be our limit.
Now that the USPF has a new plan, it is hoped that this will translate to meaningful economic developments for Nigeria, as a relationship between economic development of a country and effective telecommunication services is interwoven. In recent times, a lot of companies from the Middle East, South Africa and Europe are moving into sub-Saharan Africa for investment. and Nigeria, with a population of over 160 million people and a growing middle class, is a choice market for these investors. Specifically, South Africa's investment in Nigeria, which began as a freckle after apartheid in 1994, has turned into a flood over the past 13 years. Trade between the two nations jumped from $11 million in 1994 to well over $100 billion today, with visible investment in the nation's ICT sector. This figure is yet to increase as South Africa recently organized a trade mission visit to Nigeria.
More and more South Africans have been coming here, and they would like to invest here. The reason also is basically that Nigeria is quite a big market, and therefore it makes business sense for any South African to come and invest here. And of course the regime, the legal regime, is also very friendly to that.
Deliberations at the event focused on ICT and oil and gas, and participants from Nigeria and South Africa share their perspectives from the government and public sector angles.
We've been coming here regularly to Nigeria, not just to Nigeria, but also to other countries. But in Nigeria, we come here at least twice a year with different sectors. This time it is oil and gas and ICT sectors, but we were here a few months ago with the film sector. So we brought a group of film producers to come and partner with Nigerian producers so that there can be like some sort of joint production, between the two sides. And it's been working.
It is important to note that South African investors have chosen the sectors they intervene in very carefully. They feel a void in investment space in Nigeria. The Europeans and the Americans, worried by endless years of military rule, did not quite know how to respond to Nigeria's evolving democratic environment. Most West African companies that invested in Nigeria focused on the lucrative oil sector alone, leaving huge swaths of the economy open to South African entrepreneurs.
Although the two countries have done well in their trade relations, there are still some barriers that must give way if this growth must be sustained. And this is about to change, says the South African High Commissioner to Nigeria.
During the state visit, we signed an agreement where at least carriers of diplomatic and official passport could move freely between the two countries.
It is hoped that these deliberations and networking will result in significant improvement in the trade and investments flow between the two countries. The Acting Director General of NIDDA, Dr. Ashiru Daura, has formally inaugurated the Nigerian Association of IT-Enabled Outsourcing Company. Performing the ceremony in Abuja, Daura, in his first official function since assuming leadership at the helms of affairs of the IT agency, praised the efforts of NIDTech and assured the body of the agency's support.
This is an important milestone. In 2011, we had the first outsourcing conference. And in that conference, there was a resolution that a board or an association should be established, similar to what you have in India and Ghana. An association that will oversee and guide outsourcing activities in the country. We have the national outsourcing policy. You will see to its, coming into force, coming into reality. In this process, in all your activities and work, NIDDA will be around to give assistance and support. We will not do the work for you, but we will support in all what we can.
President of the Institute of Software Practitioners of Nigeria and a member of the Board of Trustees, Chris Uwaje, recounted the journey and efforts of some stakeholders towards making outsourcing a fruitful venture in Nigeria, pointing out its potentials for job creation if fully in place.
This journey started in 1999 when the national IT policy was initiated. And I want to believe with all my colleagues who are there, who are pioneers of the IT industry, who've been yearning for outsourcing. And when we say outsourcing, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about business process outsourcing. That's the completeness of it. And with this responsibility entrusted on us as the trustees of the board, I want to assure you that working with the acting Director General of NIDA and the entire workforce of NIDA, we are going to ensure that all our best, all our expertise, and of course, all our commitment will be put into bear to ensure that this becomes a very fruitful venture for Nigeria. The ultimate aim of this challenge is really to create jobs. And I think the outsourcing is the only dynamic structure that can create between 5 and 10 million jobs for Nigerians.
Another member of the board of NITEC and president of the Information Technology Association of Nigeria, Florence Seriki, drew inferences from the Indian experience and stressed the importance of outsourcing to economic growth.
By the time we start this outsourcing, it touches different aspects of ICT. I just think at this point, I cannot underestimate the effect this will have on employment in Nigeria.
Apple has acquired Hopstop.com, a startup venture established by Nigerian entrepreneur Chinedu Echere for an undisclosed amount. Hopstop is a mobile application that provides an online city transit guide for over 100 metropolitan areas worldwide. Echere was born in Nigeria and grew up in Lagos, where he attended King's College. After completing his studies, he moved to the United States in 1995 and obtained an MBA from Harvard Business School and a BS from Syracuse University. He worked as an analyst at investment banks and hedge funds such as JP Morgan Chase, and in 2005 he founded Hopstop.
The groundbreaking efforts of African visionaries who with undying passion and commitment have succeeded in pioneering technologically innovative applications of new media in African journalism and the media.
Infotech Network.
This is a story of a continent awakening.
AIT Infotech Network.
Over the past years, has played a critical role in empowering Africans with skills and insights into the use of ICTs in the context of a globalized world.
Join Africa's best ICT broadcast journalist of the year,
Bayero Agabi from Nigeria,
to browse the world of ICTs for its impacts, relevance and role in uplifting Africa from poverty.
For details, please log on to www.aitinfotech.com or Bayero Agabi at aitinfotech.com, or better still, AIT Head Marketing, Alagbadu, Lagos. AIT Infotech Network, bridging the digital divide.
The global IT outsourcing market is expected to hit $288 billion this year, with emerging markets from Asia, Latin America, and China. This report is from Gartner. But surprisingly, Africa is not mentioned in this report, and that's got me wondering why, if they say Africa is the next economic frontier. How come we are not mentioned as part of the continent that will be contributing to this growth in global IT outsourcing? And we are going to be joined with a seasoned IT professional and IT trainer, Mayowa Ogumoroti, to take a look at this issue and probably chart a course for how best we can equip our IT professionals from this part of the world. Mayowa, how come Africa is not part of the continent that will be contributing this $288 billion to the global IT outsourcing market?
I can imagine that some of the statistics we've got, considering the continent of the world, considering the continent, and as I mentioned, Asia Pacific, Asia, look at China, Malaysia, India, for example. They have the high volume of IT professionals, skilled professionals. And so what happens in our economy most of the time is that is where a lot of the outsourcing comes from. We don't see a lot of outsourcing from Africa to other parts of the world. So I guess that's one of the reasons why in that report, Africa is not so mentioned. Now, Africa is not as if we don't outsource, really. We do, but there's a sort of depth in the skills.
Now, let's come back home to Nigeria, okay? What do you think is responsible for this gap that we see in IT skills? Especially when you consider the fact that there is no tertiary institution in Nigeria that does not have one or more IT-related courses. Yet we have private IT training institutes also spread across the country.
If I speak from my perspective, what I do, I'm into a lot of training as a professional, and we see a lot of people that come with different qualifications. I remember there was a time we were screening for a position in our company, and we're looking for trainers, database professionals, as a matter of fact. And it piqued my imagination that we screened quite a number of people, and to be honest with you, there was none of them that could, that we could vouch for and say these are people that can stand in front of students.
Practically, what kind of IT skills do organizations look out for when they hire IT professionals?
It depends, because IT is a very wide field. There are different aspects. There's databases, there's networking, there's programming, quite a number of areas. There's hardware, software. So it depends on the kind of area you're looking to get a job. But my advice to anybody who's a graduate of computer sciences, your training starts actually. Your future starts actually from the moment you step into school.
Now, when we take a look at the IT profession, a lot of these young people come out of schools and they really can't fit into the market immediately. Okay, what do you think such people need to do, these young people? What's your advice to them? How can they hone their skills while in school?
My advice is, I'll use my own experiences. Understand what you want to do. There's a tendency for people to do this jack of one trade, master of one. If you're an IT, if you have a BSc Computer Science degree or BSc IT, look at the wide array of options that the IT field offers. Look at areas where you're interested in, and then carve a niche for yourself in that area. Look at, like I told my students, say, look at looking for a job. If your dream is being a network engineer, go online, search for jobs that or jobs that are related to network engineering. Okay, what are the requirements organizations are looking for in that field? Do like a search, compare those. Okay, if you are going to be a network engineer, you must have this, you must have that. Okay, set out to achieve those things. Okay, if it's CCNE, CCNP, MCIT, whatever it is that you need, look out for those things. And once you've gotten those things, ensure that you know those things, not just to have the certification. And I also advise, because the issue of experience is a major challenge in IT world. Most organizations don't want to employ newbies, because most of them are handling sensitive information, data, and devices. So they want people who have. So I tell my students that try as much as possible. At the end of our training, we try our best to find them in the organization. We also say, be proactive. Go out there, take the initiative. Look out for companies that can offer you placements, not paying placements now. It's not about money. Take time out a year or two. Build your what's it called? Build your resume.
Mayowa Okumoro there on IT skill acquisition in Nigeria, and of course we also took a look at the broader IT outsourcing market. If you have been watching, we say thank you for being with us. Until I come your way again next week, I am Francisca Inanna saying bye.